This is my Pultec EQP-1A story. One of my friends who's a dealer got in touch with me one time and he said, George, I'm at this college, really old college. I forgot the college name. It was up in New York. And they had four EQP-1As, all consecutive serial numbers. And he says, I can get them really cheap, but I just don't have the money for it. And I said, would you be interested in, you know, floating the money for this thing, and when we sell it, we'll split the profit. And I said, sure, that sounds like a good idea. And I trusted him, and so he got the units, and I sent the money up for them. It wasn't a lot of money for the units. And then I looked around to find somebody who would buy it, and I found this guy up in Canada who was very interested in buying them, but he wanted me to take them apart and take pictures of them. So I'm going to post these pictures in the background while I'm talking so he could verify how they were built and if anything modifications were done or anything like that. So I sold the first two to him, and I think I sold them at a very low price. I think it was like $3,000 each, something like that. I know they're worth a ton of money now, but he sent me the money, and I got him up to him in Canada, and he was happy with what he got. So he bought the two of them. And then he said, okay, I'd like to buy the other two. And, I did the same thing, took them apart, took the pictures, sent them up to him. And this time he said, could you send them? And then I'm going to send you the money, or no, I didn't send them. I was waiting for him to pay for them. And he called me. He says, I don't think I want to pay that much for them. I said, what do you mean? We had a deal. And he says, yeah, I think I'm paying too much money for these things, and I don't think I should pay that much. And I was just kind of stuck because I already had paid for these things. I was floating them, and I really didn't have the wiggle room to just sit on them. So I just kind of gave in, and I said, all right, what do you want to pay me? And he told me what he wanted to pay me for. And I said, all right, I'll sell them to you for that much. And we made the deal happen. So all four of them went up to this guy, and then he told me they went from him. He had them packed up and shipped to Australia, and it went to the drummer from In Access, and that guy was really happy with what he got from what this guy in Canada told me. But it was one of those deals. You finance a thing, and you're on the edge, and a client can pull a stunt like that where I don't want to pay that anymore, and then you're stuck. And it really comes down to kind of time management and getting your money back into your bank account really quickly. So that was my Pultec story. I know they're worth a ton of money right now, and these things were like in mint condition because they were in a rack. I think it was like in a dance studio of the college, and they were just sitting there doing nothing, because there was a time where all the tube gear, people thought tube gear was old and nobody wanted it, and they just kind of treated it like trash. So I could see a college just kind of putting it in a rack and putting it in a closet and never really paying much attention to it. Because I remember when I worked at Techcom in Philadelphia, there was a lot of people that wanted to trade in their tube gear, and we were like, I don't know. But now it's worth a ton of money, all this stuff. So there's my story. I have the pictures running in the background about the Pultecs. And it was funny because I had one of my clients, Dayud Shaw, who passed away, but he was a really nice guy. He came over to my office, and I had an EQP-1A, and I said, what are the tricks with this? And he sat down and he explained to me how to set it up and what you would do to get certain sounds out of it. And it didn't seem obvious to me, but after he explained it to me, I was like, wow, that's an interesting way of doing things. So, there's a whole reason why those things are worth what they're worth. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this story.